For RCR Wireless News, I'm Sean Kinney here at Mobile World Congress with Philippe Morin, the COO of EXFO. So Philippe, I really want to talk about some of the big trends that we're seeing in telecom right now, but before we get into that, can you just give our viewers a high-level overview of EXFO and your role in the company?
Yeah, so EXFO is a company that's actually 30 years old, been on really focused at innovation for test and measurement solutions. A company that started predominantly in optical test and measurement, but over the years gradually expanded its portfolio, working on a copper, wireless, and then moving into service assurance and analytics platform. So that's what we do. We tend to sell to about the top, over 90% of the top 100 service providers, but we also sell to the Web 2.0 as they build data centers, and we also sell to network equipment vendors like the Nokias and Ciennas and Ericsson's of the world.
Okay, and you mentioned sort of innovation and evolution there. Digital transformation is a big buzzword we've been hearing a lot at the show, and it often gets applied to enterprise and industries, but it also applies to communication service providers. Can you sort of frame that issue a little bit about this sort of technological evolution that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, the way I would actually start off is to say the reason why the service providers have to transform a digital transformation, it comes down to the fact that as consumer, residential consumer, our appetite for a high definition video, our appetite for being connected, for the enterprise side, for the reason that when they move into cloud, is creating a need to transform the service provider's network. And with that, modernization happens with fiber being deployed everywhere, from fiber to the home to fiber to the antennas. You've got obviously 5G, talk of the Mobile World Congress, IoT, but you look at as well with the advantage of virtualization coming into play, along with intelligence, it really helps now, or gives an opportunity to the service providers to really now get into what I would call a next level of transformation for the network.
And so how does that get passed along to the test and measurement industry? How do you facilitate that transformation?
So it comes into maybe two angles. First, when a service provider decides to go and modernize a network, bring more fiber, bring more bandwidth to their wireless network, obviously there is a need for test solutions in the lab to simulate the kind of new workloads and processes. But as they also turn up these new services or these new networks, a need for testing the equipment, but also a need to come on and would bring more intelligence and automation into their process so that ultimately they can get cost savings and cost efficiencies.
Okay, and another aspect of this is sort of this blending of topologies where you have your copper, you have your fiber, you have your wireless. I think from a product perspective, EXFO has a great value proposition in terms of what you're able to put in the hands of these technicians. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Very good point. So today we've actually showcased our what we call all-in-one tester. So it tests the fiber infrastructure as we go into backhaul and front haul applications. So it tests the fiber, it tests as well the whole Ethernet CPRI protocol. But in addition, we've added RF capability so that if there's any performance impact of RF into interference, being able to have one solution for the technician to be able to test all of these different protocols, all of these different physical interface, brings efficiency and minimizes obviously the trick rolls or minimizes the number of technicians you got to send in the field to really highlight and pinpoint if you have any issues or when you turn up the network to make sure that the wireless tower is ready to provide the bandwidth and the service quality that it's supposed to do.
Right. And so given what we've discussed here regarding transformation and these technological evolutions, what's 2017 have in store for EXFO? What's going to be top of mind this year?
I think top of mind for us is how do we continue to help the service providers transform their network by providing more intelligence, more automation, and more analytics to effectively smooth out this integration or transformation they got to do. And we call this test orchestration and 3D analytics. So it's really providing a view on the analytics from the network, the subscriber, and the service, so that ultimately they have more visualized tools to make decisions. And on the test orchestration, it's really bring more automation. As an example, the all-in-one testing where you bring different protocols along with different technology like RF and optical. So really for us is how do we continue to innovate and bring more solutions like that to really help the service providers transform their network.
Philippe, I really appreciate you taking the time to share EXFO's point of view here.
Thank you. All right.